Hello everyone and welcome to our presentation on the Continental Illinois case, a pivotal event in the history of banking and financial crises. Our aim is to delve into the history, the causes, the consequences and the learnings of this significant event that occurred in the United States. This case is of great importance as it highlights the vulnerabilities of financial institutions and the regulatory responses to systemic risk.
Greetings. I, Kumari Vanshika, will be talking about Part 2, The Rise of Continental Illinois. By the late 19th and early 20th century, the Continental Illinois National Bank and Trust Company rose to prominence as one of the largest banks in the United States. Under the leadership of William Stamps Farish and J. Fred Pearson, the bank expanded aggressively and built a solid reputation. By the mid 20th century, it had become a key player in the banking industry with a strong presence in the Midwest.
Causes of the bank crisis. By the 1970s, Continental Illinois was heavily involved in the energy lending, particularly in the oil and gas industry. The bank had accumulated a significantly large amount of high risk loans and it heavily relied on volatile short term borrowings. The 1970s oil crisis impacted the bank as many of its energy related loans began to soar. This created a mismatch of funds and weakened its financial stability. The factors which contributed to the failure of the bank were overconcentration of energy loans, poor risk management, lack of diversification, loss of depositor confidence, and regulatory scrutiny. The failure of Continental Illinois serves as a cautionary tale about the importance of sound risk management, diversification, and potential consequence of over-reliance on specific industries or sectors.
Talking more about the crisis, the Continental Illinois crisis became apparent in May 1984 when large depositors began withdrawing the funds due to the concerns about the bank's financial health. So, the deteriorating condition of the bank quickly caught attention of the regulatory authorities, including the Federal Reserve. So, the immediate response of the Federal Reserve was to lend the banks billions of dollars, to avoid immediate collapse of the bank. So, the Continental Illinois crisis unfolded a series of events that ultimately led to the bank's near collapse and subsequent intervention by regulatory authorities. Continental Illinois had a substantial concentration of loans in the energy sector, especially in oil and the gas industry. So in May 1984, concerns about the bank's financial health began to escalate, particularly among large depositors. So this case especially talks about how, it's a classic historical example of how a bank's exposure to risky assets can lead to the crisis of confidence among depositors and threaten the stability of the financial system. Thank you.
So I am here going to discuss about the consequences of Continental Illinois crisis. The consequences of Continental Illinois crisis were significant as it raised questions about too big to fail concept. The government and regulators stepped in to prevent the bank's failure. In September 1984, the FDIC took control of Continental Illinois, marking the first time a bank of its size had failed. The controversial nature of the government's intervention led to discussions and debates about the role of large financial institutions in the US economy.
I'll be talking about the lessons learned from the case. The Continental Illinois case emphasizes the critical importance of risk management in banking. Robust and proactive regulatory oversight is crucial for maintaining the stability of the financial sector. The case underscores the complexities and moral hazards associated with institutions considered too big to fail. The case highlights the potential for systemic risk where the failure of one institution can have cascading effects on the broader financial system. Regulatory authorities need to be well prepared to respond to financial crises swiftly and decisively. To conclude, the Continental Illinois case stands as a pivotal moment in the history of banking and financial regulation. This case, which unfolded in the 1980s, serves as a lasting reminder of the challenges and consequences that can arise in the financial sector when risk management and regulatory oversight fall short. This case holds enduring significance for several reasons. First, it showcases the rise and fall of the once potent financial institution, Continental Illinois National Bank and Trust Company. Second, the Continental Illinois crisis highlighted the interconnectedness of financial institutions and their susceptibility to systematic threats. The consequences of this crisis extended beyond Continental Illinois itself. The government's intervention and bailout were surrounded by controversy, raising questions about the too big to fail concept. It marked the first instance of a bank of such size being placed under the control of the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, or the FDIC. Thank you.